Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new to my channel, my name is Mariana, and in this video I'm going to be talking about why I haven't been as present on YouTube, where I have been, and just like a quick update of what has been going on in my life in the past months. This is actually the second time I'm doing this video. The first video was too long, so I just decided to cut that out and just make a new video, and this is gonna be quite short. Just want to go straight to the point. I should probably stop talking now and get straight to the point. Yeah, my last video on my YouTube channel was the greater video, the acting video, and then after that I've kind of been off, like haven't posted anything, and my videos were not on YouTube anymore. Everything was disabled, so you couldn't see it, nothing basically. You couldn't see anything on my channel, and that's because there has been a lot going on. It's nothing tragic, but there has been things going on that kept me busy from posting. As you may know, I have finished my law degree last year, and in September 2020 I started my LPC. If you don't know what the LPC is, it stands for Legal Practice Course, and you study for the LPC if you want to become a solicitor. So I've been doing the LPC at the University of Law. They've got various campuses throughout the UK, so I've been doing that from September till last month. The LPC was quite, not tough, but it was quite intense in terms of it was one thing after the other, so I didn't have much time to do anything. Basically, I couldn't really take any days off, and I did mine full-time. Some people can do it. You can choose to do the LPC part-time or accelerated, which is 6 months, but I did mine full-time. Full-time, so that kept me quite busy because more things came up while doing my LPC. I was working as an interpreter, self-employed, so I could pick my own hours. But I had to do at least 25 hours a week. It was quite easy to balance the LPC and that job, though not specifically, but it was alright. I could manage both, so that was fine. Then in December 2020 I was contacted by this law firm that I applied to a year prior in 2019. I applied to that firm back in 2019, but after the second round of interview I was unsuccessful. So that was that, and after a year, in December 2020, they called me back and were like, oh, are you interested? We have this vacancy, we want to know if you're interested. So obviously that was mind-blowing. I was like, what? Wow. So obviously I took the job. The issue was that I was doing my LPC, so I couldn't really spare much time for a full-time job. So I did tell them that I would only be available to work twice a week, and they were fine with it. The job was due to start in January, so the sun is coming out. So the job was due to start in January 2021. In January 2021 I started working at this law firm. It was in conveyancing, so property law and things like that, which I'm not really particularly a fan of. I mean, it was a job, so I took the job. It was a job in a law firm. Obviously you need the experience, and I took the job. However, things happened. I just felt like, and I don't want to be negative about it, because I think every experience is every experience can be used at your own benefit. The issue was I didn't really feel like I fit in. My supervisor, which was a solicitor, she used to go home quite early, or she would come later. She wouldn't really give me any substantial amount of work, so I was basically there doing nothing for most of the time, which made going to work quite dreadful. Like, I was dreading going to work, and I just wasn't feeling the vibe, honestly. But at the same time, I didn't want to reject that job. I felt like that wasn't the place where I was meant to be, and it was weird because obviously being called back by a job that rejected you, it just feels like a blessing. Like, oh wow, God is giving me another opportunity. So I took the job. Obviously I was happy, I was very content at the time, but when I started working at the law firm, there were things that I particularly didn't enjoy. Sometimes I was in the office alone, because they had like small offices with 3 people, and I didn't mind being alone. But the issue is I didn't have any work to do. I was there doing nothing. So things were not really going as I hoped. And when she would give me work, she would just give it without explaining. She would explain things, but in a very quick way. She seemed very frustrated overall. So I don't know. These things came up to me as a red flag. But obviously I didn't say nothing because that's a job. So, but then you know how things work. God works in mysterious ways. So after 3 weeks, which technically speaking is 1 week because I used to work twice a week, this solicitor, this partner, came up to me and was like, to be honest, I knew something. I knew he was gonna say that. I just felt like he was gonna say that. I felt like things were not going fine overall. This is so random, but I wanted to add how I knew he was gonna do what he did. Because that day he walked in, it was me and my supervisor. He walked straight to my supervisor and was like, oh, we need to talk after. Do you have time to talk after? And he completely ignored me. Like I wasn't even there. Literally no eye contact, nothing. I was looking at him to say hi, you know, good morning, good afternoon, and he ignored me. Like wasn't there at all. And he did that because he was ashamed of what he was gonna do after. I think, first of all, I think it's very disrespectful. So I think like I'm not talking, but I think it's very disrespectful. First of all, you walk in your room and don't say hi to someone who is there. That's not really good at all. But you know, at least have some self-respect. When he did that, when he walked in and ignored me, I knew, you know, that something was gonna happen. They were gonna talk about me. So he came up to me during the end of the day and it was like, you know, we feel like maybe you started this job too early because you can only work twice a week because you're doing the LPC, and we feel like you're not getting any substantial amount of training, which is true because my supervisor went home. So they thought it was better to, I'm gonna say the word, to fire me. I mean, I was fired. That's the thing. I was fired because in my opinion the management was not up to standard. Because if you really wanted to keep me, then why not give me to another supervisor? I mean, you knew I could only work twice a week, but you still decided to take me on. So yeah, that's what happened. Weirdly enough, I wasn't sad about it. I was like, you know, if this happened, then it means that God has something bigger for me. So I never lost hope. I never lost faith. I was quite optimistic. So that was fine. But obviously I didn't have a job. So I'm not bitter about it. I'm really not bitter about it. I understand where they're coming from. Obviously they don't want to pay for someone who's not doing anything. But then that's not my fault, is it? If your supervisor goes home, if my supervisor goes home early and she doesn't give me any work, how was that my fault? So it was like, maybe, and there are things maybe that you don't know yet because you haven't finished the LPC. And I was like, there are things that we don't learn in the LPC, so I want to know that anyway. But overall I felt like that film was quite not diverse and very traditional. So when they told me to go, I wasn't sad about it. Also, one of the reasons why I wasn't particularly sad is because when I had the interview with this law firm back in 2019, was it? Yeah, 2019, I felt so uncomfortable during that interview. The first interview was perfectly fine, you know, it was a nice conversation and was successful. But the second interview, I was interviewed by 3 people, 3 partners, male partners, you know, which is not a problem. But one of them was yawning. He was looking at his watch. He was looking around, looking at his shoes. So I just felt very uncomfortable to the point where I was like, I was really this close to being
like, you know what, let's end this interview because I don't know what's going on.
And even the questions I was asked, it's just, no, you know, I didn't feel comfortable. That's why at that point I was like, you know, if this law firm doesn't call me back, I don't really care, because I'm not even sure whether I would like to work here, to be honest. In March, I started applying for part-time working from home customer service jobs, but I didn't get any of them, which was weird because I do have a lot of customer service work experience. But then things made sense. I now understand why I didn't get any of them jobs. I also started applying for, I was a bit more confident because back then I didn't have as many exams. And even if that law firm told me, oh, do you think maybe you can work more days, I would have been like, yes, you know, I don't have as many exams now, so maybe I can up my days. But they didn't ask me none of that. They didn't try to negotiate. So, you know, I didn't even care anyway at the end of the day. I started applying for full-time law firm jobs in areas of law that I was particularly interested in, which is clinical negligence. In April, ending of April, I applied to this law firm. It's quite a big law firm. After a week or two, they got back to me. They said that they wanted to fix an interview. They fixed an interview. I passed the first round of interview. The second round was a case study. I passed that as well, and I was successful, and I got the job, and I started back in March. So now I am working in this law firm that deals with a lot of things, but specifically with where I work in, we deal with clinical negligence cases. And clinical negligence cases are cases where, say, a doctor is negligent, so, or a hospital or a nurse or midwife. So for example, they failed to do something that they should have done, and as a consequence the patient died or suffered substantial injuries, or even stillbirth cases, or where a doctor doesn't, or where a midwife or doctor doesn't pick up on something, or perhaps when a doctor doesn't see that the child of a pregnant woman is sick and there are things to do, and they fail to do those things, and as a result the child is sick when he, or has injuries when he's born. Or maybe when a patient has cancer but it's not diagnosed on time, and as a result there's nothing to do. So I've also got cases where people have died. So it's quite a variety of cases where a doctor has done something wrong or hasn't done something at all. Doctors, midwives, hospitals. So it's so interesting. Some cases are sad, but it's just very interesting. It's what I liked. It's really important to find a place where you're happy, something that you are passionate about, because it really makes a difference. It does. Also, one of the reasons why I haven't been on YouTube is because, yeah, I didn't have time, but I don't like to be on YouTube when looking for a job, just because I wouldn't want them to see my YouTube channel before meeting me and maybe basing judgments on that. That's why I haven't even been making videos, and that's why my channel was private. So that's what's been happening, and now I finished the IBC. I have a job that I really like, and I've got time to make YouTube videos. But I will treat YouTube as more of a hobby than a job, if that makes sense, because I feel like I started my YouTube channel for fun. Like the zoo video and things like that, they were all for fun. But I think with time, maybe I started to concentrate on maybe how many views I got or subscribers, and kind of lost the main reason why I started doing YouTube in the first place. You know, if I've got 2 views, then that's it. You know, I don't mind at all. I think it's just nice to look back at the videos, and it's just fun to film videos. So that's gonna be my hobby, and I'm just gonna do it for fun. You know, I've got a lot of videos coming up that I've filmed, so that is going to be very interesting. If you haven't subscribed, then subscribe, because there's a lot of good content coming up. So I just thought I'd put an update out there before posting videos, because then it's a bit weird, like I've been off for like months and then I'm back like that. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to subscribe, like and share, and to be ready for a lot of content that is going to be coming up in this channel. And yeah, that's all for today, and thanks for watching. Bye.